Hello, Anne-Marie here from Spot On, supporting learner drivers and driving instructors and helping people get rid of their test anxiety. And I'm here tonight with another live video to help you pass your theory test. So tonight I thought I would talk about eco-driving. I've had a couple of requests to talk about this. I've also had a request to talk about the technique for answering multiple choice questions. So that's what I'm going to do tonight as well with you. So I'm going to talk about eco-driving, and I'm going to cover the questions, some of the questions that you might be asked in your theory tests, and how to answer them, so a technique for answering them. So I'm going to be covering eco-driving and techniques all together, all in sort of in one thing with you. So I'll talk about gears, speed, braking and accelerating, smooth driving, servicing your vehicle, the weight of your vehicle and the tyres in your car, and how those things can affect how much fuel you use, how much money you save as well. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this around. So look how to do that now. Okay, that's all right. I'm not sure how to do that. So first of all, what driving techniques can help you to save fuel? That's not going to work because it's backwards. So I've got them on the screen behind me so I can talk about them. So what driving techniques can help you to save fuel? So I've got 4 answers here. Using lower gears as often as possible, accelerating sharply in each gear, using each gear in turn and missing out some gears. So what do you think the answer is? Whenever you read a question, think to yourself, what do I think the answer is? Before even reading the answers, what do I think the answer is? What driving techniques can help you to save fuel? And then you can read the answers and get rid of 2 rubbish ones. There will, most of the time, be 2 rubbish answers. So, is the answer going to be accelerating sharply? I'm thinking that accelerating sharply is not ever going to be the right answer in the theory test questions. Is the answer going to be using each gear in turn? Well, the driving the essential skills, I've got a copy here, let's show you. Okay, so this book here, Driving the Essential Skills, and that tells us how to drive. And the Driving the Essential Skills recommends that we miss out gears when we're driving. So you do something called block or selective gear changing. So therefore, using each gear in turn is not going to be the answer in your theories. We've got rid of 2. We've got rid of accelerating sharply and using each gear in turn. We're left with missing out some gears and using lower gears as possible. Well, as you probably know, when you're using lower gears, gear 1, 2, then you're using more fuel. The engine's working harder. It sounds noisier, doesn't it? So using lower gears is not going to help you save fuel. So missing out some gears is the right answer to that question. Missing out some gears will help you to save fuel. So another question. Up to how much fuel will you use by driving at 70 miles per hour compared to driving at 50 miles per hour? So it's recommended that driving at 50 miles per hour saves us fuel. And asking what percentage of fuel that's going to save us. So the 4 answers I've got here are 10%, 30%, 75% and 100%. I mean, it's hard here to get, if you don't know the answer, to get rid of 2 rubbish answers, but it's not going to save us 100% of fuel, is it? By driving at 50 miles per hour is not going to save us 100% of fuel. So we can get rid of 1 answer really, really easily. And then would maybe we get rid of 10%, do you think? What do you think? 10% is quite a low number, isn't it? So let's get rid of 10%. So driving at 50 miles per hour compared to driving at 70 miles per hour is going to save you 30% of fuel. So if you can't remember that 30%, then you will remember it's not going to save us 100% of fuel, and the number's not going to be very, very low. Otherwise, it's not really saving us very much at all. So 30% is the right answer there. So next, another question. So we're going through eco driving, and we're going through how to answer the theory test questions, how to answer multiple choice questions. The technique I'm using here is to read the question. The next question is, what will improve fuel consumption? What will improve fuel consumption? Read the question, have a think to yourself, what do I think the answer is? And then look at the 4 answers. And the 4 answers I've got here are reducing speed, rapid acceleration, late and harsh braking, or driving in lower gears. So now the technique, we've read the question, we've thought about what we think the answer might be, we've read the 4 answers, now get rid of 2 rubbish answers. There is 2, normally is going to be 2 rubbish answers. So what do you think? Do you think rapid acceleration is ever going to save you fuel? And when you accelerate rapidly, your engine noise is really loud. You're using a lot more fuel. So, I mean, sometimes it is obviously necessary to do that, but it's not going to improve fuel consumption. So rapid acceleration we can get rid of. Late and harsh braking, is that ever going to be a good idea? Is that ever going to be an answer in your theory test, to brake late and harsh? It's not. So we can get rid of that one as well. So we're left with 2 answers. We're left with reducing speed and driving in lower gears. Do you remember what I said a couple of minutes ago? Driving in lower gears uses more fuel, doesn't it? You use less fuel. The engine is less noisy when you go up through those are the higher gears. So reducing speed there is the right answer. Is it making sense to you? Is the technique making sense? And are the answers to the questions making sense? If not, or if so, let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. So let's have a look at the next question. Go through the same technique. What can driving smoothly achieve? This is another one that you might not know unless you've seen the question. But we'll see the question here today. So what can driving smoothly achieve? Reduction in journey time by 15%. Increase in fuel by 15%. Increase in journey by 15%. Reduction in fuel by 15%. So driving smoothly is obviously what is recommended. So to get rid of 2 rubbish answers, would driving smoothly increase your fuel? I don't think so. So should we get rid of that one? We'll get rid of that one. Would driving smoothly increase your journey? Well, it's not going to do that either. So let's get rid of those 2. It's not going to increase anything. It's going to reduce something, driving smoothly. Is driving smoothly? So we've got rid of 2 rubbish answers again. We're left with only 2 answers. We've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, which is fantastic. So what can driving smoothly achieve? Reduction in your journey time or reduction in fuel? Both by 15%. reduction in journey by 15%, reduction in fuel by 15%. You think you probably agree with me that the answer is going to be reduction in fuel by 15%. Driving smoothly reduces the fuel you use by 15%. Okay, let's go on to another question. Okay, this one's about having your vehicle serviced. So remember, they were talking about eco-driving. Driving that's good for the environment. So having your vehicle serviced is obviously good for the environment. It's going to make your car run smoother. Your car's going to run better. So that's what we think. Now let's have a look at the 4 answers. Then we can get rid of 2. So having a vehicle serviced, will it reduce your insurance premiums, lower your road tax, better fuel economy, or slower journey times? So if we get rid of 2, should we get rid of reducing your insurance premiums? It's not going to do that, unfortunately. And it's not going to lower your road tax either. Getting your vehicle serviced is not going to do those 2 things. So we're left with 2 answers. We're left with better fuel economy and slower journey times. What do you think the answer is? So whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on playback, whether you're watching at a later date, pop an answer in now and tell me what you think. What will be the result of having your vehicle serviced? Better fuel economy or slower journey times? So I'm going to go with better fuel economy. Do you agree with that? Okay, and let's go on to the next question. I've got 2 more to go through with you. These are the questions that cover eco-driving, the questions that may come up in your test. They may be asked in a different way, but this is some of the information that you need to know for your theory test. So the next one is about weight. How will a roof rack affect your car's performance? What do you think the answer is? Well, a roof rack's going to cause more weight, isn't it? It's going to be heavier. And a roof rack's going to be more to cut through when you're driving. When you're driving, it's going to have some buffering, isn't it? So let's go through the 4 answers and get rid of 2 rubbish answers. As I keep saying to you, there's always, or generally always, 2 rubbish answers. So there will be less wind noise. The engine will use more oil. The car will accelerate faster. Fuel consumption will increase. Let's get rid of 2 rubbish ones. Okay. So I am going for the car will accelerate faster as a rubbish answer. When you've got more weight on the car, if you were cycling, and let's just say the roof rack is a rucksack on your back, would you be able to accelerate faster? And the answer is obviously no. So accelerate faster, we'll get rid of that one. Okay, there will be less wind noise. So do you think there's going to be less noise or more noise if you've got a big roof rack on the top of your car? So that is another rubbish answer. So we're left with 2. We're left with fuel consumption will increase and the engine will use more oil. So are you going to use more oil or more fuel by having a roof rack on the car? What do you think? I'm going to pop these slides into my Facebook group later on. But what do you think? The engine will use more oil or fuel consumption will increase? So I'm going to go for fuel consumption will increase. You're making it harder to move the car. And if it's harder to move the car, you need more energy to move the car. Just like if you had a heavy rucksack on your back, you'd need more leg power, more energy to get the bicycle moving. If you've got more weight in your car, you need more energy to get the car moving, and more energy means more fuel, of course. So I've got one more to go through with you now. What is most likely to waste fuel? What do you think the answer is? Like I said before, whether you're watching now or whether you're watching at a later date, pop an answer in. What's most likely to waste fuel? What do you think? Let's have a look at the 4 answers. So we've got reducing your speed, driving on motorways, using a different brand of oil, or under-inflated tyres. So that's the 4 answers I've got here, the 4 typical answers you're going to get in your theory test. So let's get rid of 2 rubbish ones. Is reducing your speed going to waste fuel? No. Get rid of that one. That's rubbish. Is using a different brand of oil going to waste fuel? I don't think so either. No. So we've got rid of 2. We've got rid of 2 rubbish answers. So we're left with what is most likely to waste fuel. We've got driving on motorways or under-inflated tyres. So under-inflated tyres that haven't got enough air in them. So let's come back to riding a bike. And most people have ridden bikes. If you ride a bike where the tyres haven't not got enough air in them, is it easier or harder to move the bike? Well, it's harder, isn't it? Because the tyre sort of like splurges spreads onto the tarmac. So more surface area. So it makes it harder to move the bike. So underinflated tyres make it harder to move. And if it's harder to move, you're using more energy, more fuel. Does that make sense? So what's most likely to waste fuel? Underinflated tyres. So that's my session for tonight. I hope you find it interesting. I hope you find it useful. Please pop any comments below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's anything else you want to know about eco driving or about my technique for answering the multiple choice questions. Let me know what you'd like me to cover next time. I covered these 2 subjects today following requests from other people. So what would you like me to cover next time? I'm going to go. I'll see you next Thursday, same time. Please get in touch with me. I've got a theory training course this Saturday. Still got a couple of places left on it. It's at 10 o'clock. It's a 3-hour course, 3-hour workshop. 10 o'clock. It's in Shaftesbury. If you can't make that, there's lots of other workshops going, and I've done lots and lots of workshops over Skype. So if you're interested, if you'd like to know more, if you want a better preparation for your theory test, then get in touch with me, please, on info@spot-on-driving.co.uk. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.